Hi, welcome to the Stitch Together podcast. My name is Chrissy, I'm your host. This is episode 17 and the date is Tuesday the 14th of July 2015. Welcome. It's really good to be back talking to you again. I know it's been a very long time and I thank you for your patience, for sticking around, and for all those very optimistic souls who subscribe to the YouTube channel when there have been several weeks where there was no episode. So thank you and welcome to new viewers. It's really good to be talking to you and I hope you enjoy the show, and if you don't enjoy the show, goodbye. It was lovely for you to try me. If you do enjoy the show, it'd be really good to get to know you a bit better. Come over to the Stitch Together podcast Ravelry group, come and say hello. There is a welcome thread, so come and tell us a bit about yourself and tell us about what you like making, and it'd really be good to get to know you a bit better. It's a pretty friendly group on the Ravelry board and I think you'll like it there. There's no pressure, there's not huge lengthy long threads where you'll get lost. It's not too frantic over there. It's nice and chilled and laid back and everyone's really friendly, so please come and try it. And I'm not going to go into huge details about where I've been for the last few weeks. I think what I'm going to do is leave that until the end of the episode, and then if you're not interested you can just leave and know you're not missing anything, and if you are interested you can stick around for a little bit longer. I think the best thing to do is just to get stuck in. So where do we start? We start with stuff and things. And I finally found the prizes for the Crafting with Colour knit along, which started on the 1st of June. Yes, 1st of June, and it goes through till the 31st of August. So we're in the middle, but there's still plenty of time to join in because the requirements are quite minimal. All the full details are over on the Ravelry group in the Crafting with Colour finished objects thread, so go over there and have a look, see if you've got anything that meets the requirements of the knit along, or if there's anything that jumps into your mind from your queue, for instance, or from your stash that will give you an idea of something you can do and join in. The chat thread is very friendly and hopefully it might inspire you for some things or just company while you craft, so it'd be lovely if you came and give it a go. So without further ado, I think we should look at prizes, don't you? So the first prize I've got is actually something that's very special. This is something unique that you cannot get your hands on because this was some yarn that was dyed by our very own Happy Debs. Now Happy Debs is a very regular contributor on the Ravelry board. She's very chatty and she is also very talented. When I started dyeing yarn, I think sort of about a year, 18 months ago, something like that, Debs actually started dyeing around the same time and we were talking about it, whereas I gave it up because I just couldn't manage anymore. Debs carried on and she became very talented, very skilled, and she has very, very kindly decided to donate this skein of yarn. Turned it upside down so I could read the notes. It's a sock weight yarn and it's 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere and 10% nylon, and it is 350 meters and it's 100 grams, and it's very beautiful. It's in the colour Spring Garden. And I thought it's really lovely and it's very, very generous of Debs to donate it because she doesn't sell, but hopefully one day. But yeah, the yarn is beautiful. It's very soft, very squishy, and the colours are really, really beautiful. So that's the first prize. The second prize is also donated by a lovely viewer, but she didn't dye this. She just very, very generously sent us some beautiful yarn from her stash. Can't get the colour right. Where's the colour? There's the colour. Now this is a Sundari Yarns and it's sock and it's 100% superwash merino and it's 370 yards and it's 100 grams, and the colourway is Shadow Studies number 9, And this is beautiful. It's a 2-ply, it's a high twist, it's very, there we go. It's very, very soft, and the colour has so much subtlety to it. It's beautiful. It's a really, really interesting variegated yarn. It's got sort of peaches and chocolate and tans, and it's lovely. So that is the second prize. And thirdly is another donation from a viewer, and thank you so much, guys. You've been so generous. This one is some more sock yarn. It's all sock yarn, and this is from Poke to Goblin, who is Alessandra on our group, and she kindly donated some fabulously stripy rainbow sock yarn. I think the colours are about, there's the colours, yes, they're fabulous. And it's a regular yarn. It's their Forfeidic colour, pardon the accent, and the colour is 05048. They are so creative with their names over at Regia, and these yarns are fantastic. They're pretty soft, considering, you know, the reputation of them being incredibly hard wearing. In fact, they guarantee for 10 years, I believe, and you can wash it up to 40 degrees C and it's dryer proof. So you really can't ask for more in a sock yarn, and they're beautiful, beautiful colours. So there's 50 grams in each ball, so that's more than enough for a pair of socks for an adult. So very, very colourful and very appropriate. And thank you very much, Alessandra. It's very kind of you to donate to the prize fund. So I guess I ought to get stuck in to Done and Dusted. Right, the first one is a rather lovely hat, and it's a pattern. Where's the colour? It's a bit pinker than that. There it is. Now this is a pattern by Ali Coffey of the Caffeinated Knitting podcast, and she has just released the pattern quite recently, and as soon as it was released, she very kindly gifted me a copy of the pattern, and I decided to use some very precious handspun because I thought it would work really nicely. And this is a skein that I spun from Fondant Fibres Organic Merino in the inked colourway, and I love the skein, and I love how it's knit up. I just love the subtle sort of transitions of the colours, and it's quite clever. The sort of the garter stitch band is knit flat, and then it's joined in the round to knit in stocking stitch. So I'll show you where it's seam. It's so hard to find because the seam is so good. I mean, it's just hidden in the garter stitch. You can barely see it, so you don't need to worry about it being, see, that's the outside. I struggled to find it, to be honest, when I was sort of trying to find the back to put it on my head. So let me stick it on. And I love this style of hat, the sort of slouchy. It's just really comfy, it fits really nicely, and the merino is unbelievably soft. It's, like I say, I loved spinning this fibre. It was a wonderful experience, and to be able to knit it into something is rather special, especially when it was a gifted pattern by the designer. And I'm going to get a lot of wear out of this because it's a sport weight yarn. I think it's a sport weight. Am I right? I'll tell you in a second. I will try and tell you in a second. Technology, ain't it great? Come on. Yes, it's a sport weight, and it's a 2-ply, and Yeah, I'm really pleased with it. It's a bit lighter because it's sport weight than a lot of my hats for the winter. So, and it's a little bit warmer than all my sock head hats because I've got about 3 or 4 of those now. But it's really loose, but it's not too loose. It's because it's garter stitch. It's nice and stretchy. So I really like the pattern. I really like the crown decreases. It's a bit different having this sort of nice square on the top. I think it looks good in hand spun. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that. I think it will get a lot of wear, and thank you, Ali. It was really kind of you to send me the pattern. I really enjoyed it, and I'm sure that that will be used for years to come, hopefully. Next on the done and dusted list is, I don't know, I have no idea. My notes are hidden from me. Is a bucket load of spinning. I've not done a huge amount of knitting recently because I wasn't feeling great. Over the last couple of months, I have been doing quite a lot of spinning. So you'll have to excuse me while I pick up my big Bago fibre. Ugh. Now, this is one of my new acquisitions and I'm rather fond of it. It's a very, very sturdy jute basket that folds and the lining is plastic. It's very useful for spinning and just holding all my stuff when I'm talking to you guys, and it was pretty cheap. I think it was about £8, and it was from Jules Crafts, I think. I know I put it on my notes somewhere. I know I did. I'm sure I did. Do you know what? I don't think I did. I think it's Jules Crafts. I'll put the link in the show notes so you can have a look. I also got the thing I've been chucking my done stuff in is this, and this is also plastic lined. And I got something that was so tall because I wanted something. Sorry, I won't block you anymore. I wanted something big enough that I could put it beside the sofa with all the fibre in, and the fibre wouldn't rub against the sofa and stick to it. So it's running alongside the plastic lining and it's not catching. Hopefully, that's the theory. I've not done it yet. But yeah, I was having a problem finding a spinning bucket of any kind that wasn't fabric lined. I wanted something that was slippy like plastic or satin. Just really hard to find. So that is working really well, and it's foldable and it's jute and it's really sturdy, and hopefully it'll get a lot of use from all the spinning I've got to come. I certainly intend to carry on spinning quite a lot. So where do I start? Yes, it's Jules Crafts. I've just found it. Typical. Right, the first thing in my big Bago spinning is this, and it is rather delicious, isn't it? I love this yarn almost as much as I loved spinning it. I'm delighted with it. I'm going to open it up to prove how lovely it is when it's all open. It's just fab. Now, this is from Knitting Colour, and it's the Sleepy Hollow colourway, and it's 80% merino and 20% silk, and it's a sort of DK to worsted weight. It's a 2-ply, and I got 261 meters, which is just really good meterage. I tried to keep it as lofty as possible when I was spinning, and it seems to have increased the yardage somewhat. But yeah, I love it. It's a fabulous squishy soft yarn. It's going to make something rather beautiful. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I think it's going to be gorgeous when it's knit up. Next we have, this was a bit of a different one for me. This is my very first 4-ply spin. Never done that before. The most I'd ever done was a 3-ply. And I really like the effect. It's, let's see if I can show you a strand. It's hard to, I can't see how much you're seeing on there. But anyway, it really evens out all the sort of variations in your singles, and it makes a very even, plump, round yarn. I mean, it's pretty dense because I spun it quite densely, and it's so squishy. Oh, it's going to make a fantastically warm thing when it's knit up. It was actually from Sarah's Texture Crafts. She has a range of sort of blended merinos in that are sort of solid, semi-solid type things, and this was raspberry chocolate, and I used 200 grams, and this is an Aran weight, and I got 160 meters. I lost quite a lot of fibre from this because I've only got 179 grams. I think it's almost a chunky. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if I could knit it at a chunky gauge and it'd be fine, because I think it might even bloom up some more when it's blocked. But my hands are warm just from holding it like this. It's lovely. It was beautifully prepared, and it was very reasonably priced. I do recommend you go and have a look at Sarah's Texture Craft. She has a lot of really lovely fibre. It's beautifully prepped, and it's very reasonable, which for us in the UK is a nice thing, because, you know, there aren't that many fibre dyers in the UK, and it's good to have someone that you can rely on to buy from. And it's, you know, I think she dyes to order a lot of the time, so you can choose your base for the dyeing that she does, but this is all sort of ready prepared. It's a blended thing, so I really enjoyed that. It was a very sort of fast and loose, not really worrying too much, decide when I get there kind of thing. But I really enjoyed it. It was a really fun spin, and I enjoyed doing the 4-ply, no matter how hard winding the plying ball was with 4 strands. I was like, oh my goodness, how can I tension this properly? But I was glad I had a plying ball rather than trying to ply off 4 different plying balls at the same time. So I took the 4 individual plying balls I had, and then wound those 4 strands together on another plying ball, and then used that plying ball to ply on my spindle. And that worked well, because a lot of the difficult tensioning work had been done in the initial wind. So next I have more spinning. Love this. I enjoyed this spin unbelievably. I just adore it. It's from Northbound Knitting, and it's Polworth in the Flying Kites colourway. Now, this is the only fibre I've ever managed to score from Northbound Knitting. I really must join her group, because I enjoyed this so much. It's got so much spring. Beautiful. And I spun it worsted, and it's a 2-ply. I got 178 meters from 105 grams, and I sort of tried to make sure it was barber poled by splitting it in 2 lengthways, putting one aside, and then taking the other half and splitting that lengthwise, and then making that the sort of second ply. So the first half I just spun end to end, and the second half I spun the first section end to end, and then the second section end to end, and then plied those 2 together. And it worked really well. Got really good barber poling, and it's so pretty. It's so subtle, all the sort of soft muted colours up against each other. Yeah, I love it. I love it a lot, and I think I'm going to do my best to get some more of her fibre, because it was beautifully prepped as well as the colour being beautiful. So yeah, definitely going to have to find out how to work out when her updates are, because is she in Canada? She's North America somewhere, so updates are obviously going to be sort of problematic for us in the UK, but I think it'll be worth it if I can get hold of another braid, because I mean, it's one of my favourite fibres is Polworth. I really love the bounciness of it, and it's got a bit more grip than merino. It's not as slippy, but it's just as soft, I find. So love that. Getting a second big Bago fibre. I'll just show you this quickly. Do you remember the Countess Ablaze yarn that I showed you? I think it was the last episode or the episode before. Well, I had two singles left after I did my plying, and I just plied those together and got this, which I'm really pleased about. I mean, it's a small skein. It's a sport 4-ply weight, and it's not bad. It's 143 meters of 47 grams. So it was worth me spinning up those singles and using them together, even if it's in a different way. But I thought it was interesting because it was much deeper red than the other ones. It's not as much pink in it. Really like it. So I just thought I'd show you that quickly. I'm not going to put that in the show notes. It's not worth my while, or your while, to be honest, either. And the rest of the spinning is works in progress. So please excuse me. I'll show you my armpits. Put that down there, and I shall show you my final project, which is something that has been hanging around far too long, because it was something I was meant to do a very long time ago. This is the Textured Shawl by Stephanie Bold, and it was in the original Knitwear magazine, the very first one, I believe. And the yarn is the Knitting Goddess, and it's her lace weight, and it is 70% baby alpaca, 20% silk and 10% cashmere, and it's unbelievably soft. I mean, it's just fantastic. It's light, it's soft, it's warm, and it's not mine, because the yarn was purchased by my friend Rach when she took me to Fibre East last year. See if I can show you. You probably won't be able to pick up on it very well, but there's stocking stitch here, and then there's the garter stitch here, and then another stocking stitch, another garter stitch. So it sort of repeats, and the increases are done sort of in between all the sections, which gives it quite a sort of scoop rather than a straight edge for a kind of crescent, almost crescenty pie shape. I don't know, it looks like a pie with a chunk taken out of it. It's beautiful, and I was so glad to knit it for her, because she doesn't knit, and she very generously took me to Fibre East and spent the day shoving me around in my wheelchair. I was going to buy her some yarn and knit her something to say thank you, but she decided she wanted to buy her own yarn. So she bought her own yarn, and I finally finished it after a very long time. I cast it on in January. I mean, Fibre East was July last year, so at least I've done it within the year, for which I'm very glad. Would have been ashamed if it took longer than a year. But the colourway is just greens, that's all it said. And actually, I saw the card a second ago. Oh, don't want to knock my drink over. Yes, there we go. There we go, there's the tag, the Knitting Goddess. And she does a lot of really beautiful UK yarns. Like, she uses UK fibres that are spun in the UK, and then she hand dyes them. So she does really interesting yarns. And yeah, this one was 800 meters of the alpaca silk cashmere, and yeah, it was beautiful, beautiful to knit with, and I would very happily buy this again. I mean, the colours are just so subtle and beautiful. See if I can, yeah, we go. Beautiful, beautiful colours, really beautifully dyed. I really love her work. So I forgot to turn my phone off. I'm sorry. I can't even find it. It's buried under the yarn. Please excuse me. I hate it when other podcasters do that. And I forgot. Sorry. It's because I've not done it in ages. I've got out of the habit. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Right. That's everything for done and dusted. A lot of spinning and a couple of knits. So, nose to the grindstone. And before I start that, I'm going to have a quick drink because I'm not used to talking so much anymore. I'll get back into the habit, I'm sure. My throat gets really dry these days. So, first thing is my toddler blanket, which I'm doing for my niece. I had originally hoped it was going to be done in time for her birthday in June, but it just wasn't going to happen, and I wasn't going to push myself too hard because she doesn't know it's coming. So I shall try and get it done in time for Christmas and see if I can, yeah, there we go. What I tend to do with my crochet is I put one of these locking stitch markers through the final loop so it won't all unravel, because the hook falls out when you put it away. But I've got quite a bit done now because it's pretty wide. I mean, that's half the width. So the idea being that I shall carry on doing the stripes until possibly until it's square, I think, and then I shall do a border in darker colours. The yarn is Rico Baby Classic DK, and the colourways are on the show notes. The show notes can be found on the website, which is www.stitchtogether.co.uk. Thought I'd better tell you that because I keep referring to it. And this is, I think, 50% acrylic, 50% polyamide. I think that's it. Yes. So it's machine washable. You can put it in the dryer, I think. Better not say that if I'm not sure. Yes, you can put it in the dryer at low heat. And it's one of my favourite acrylic baby yarns. It's pretty robust. In fact, a friend posted on Facebook today a picture of a cardigan I knit for her first daughter, who is now about 5, and her second daughter, who has recently been born. She's a few months old. She was in the cardigan, so it's lasted. So that's a good sign. It still looks pretty good. So hopefully this will last equally well, and I think she'll like it. I'm enjoying crocheting on it, doing just a few rows here and there, especially when I'm just watching some telly or something, because I kind of have to look where I'm putting the hook. I can't do it blindly like I can knitting. So it's good for TV watching or listening to an audio book while I work on it. So yeah, I'm enjoying that, and I think taking it more easy about getting it done, I think, is a wise idea. I really don't enjoy putting time restraints on myself. I have enough hardships with the lack of control I have in my life, and my body not letting me do certain things, and with my crafting I want to have as much control as possible and enjoy it as much as possible. And I don't enjoy the pressure of having to work on something that I'm not enjoying. So taking it easy takes that pressure off. It increases my enjoyment because I'm only working on it when I enjoy working on it, and it works better for me that way. And it means I won't resent having made it. And I don't want to give somebody a gift that I resented making. It's just, it's not the right feeling to give with a gift. It should be something that's filled with sort of warmth and happiness and enjoyment when you give it to someone. So I think it's better doing it that way. So next up is some socks. Now, these are just vanilla socks. I picked them up again recently. I've sort of dropped them for a while. It's actually kind of a half-finished object because I already have one sock. Great colours, huh? It's Felici, and the colourway is Afternoon. I bought this from Great British Yarns, who have Knit Picks yarns in the UK, if you ever want to find it. Felici has been discontinued, and then they bring back specials, but they don't seem to have it at Great British Yarns. They're just not stocking it anymore, as far as I can tell. So this might be my only opportunity to knit with Felici, is what I'm saying. And I really like it. It's really soft. I really like the colours. I just really like it. I don't know how it'll hold up to wear because it is much softer than the regulars and the like. So yeah, I'll see how it goes. But I think I'll enjoy wearing them. I think they'll be nice and soft. And I'm not too hard on my socks anyway. And I'm on the heel of the second one. This, by the way, was something that was recommended to me, well, to everyone really, by Emily of Fibertown. And it is the Poke Me Not. And it was purchased from Jambi Smiley on Etsy. And there's a link in the show notes. And essentially what it is 2 plastic ends, and there's the tube that you put your needles in, and you just pop it through. I can show you, there's like a slit in the tube tip, and it stops it from poking holes in your bag, which happens quite a lot with sock needles because they're so sharp, so pointy. So I'm always having them poke out the side of the fabric. But yeah, I think it was only about £5, and actually the exchange rate might have been different. Yeah, it was under £5 because I got 3 of them. And to be honest, I might get another 3 because I think they're really useful, because they also hold the knitting on the needle. They can't slip off the end because the needles are contained. So yeah, really good, really interesting idea, and it works really well. So recommend it. And yeah, just chucking along on those sort of every now and again. I've sort of lost my mojo a bit for socks in this year. I think it's because I pushed so hard last year with trying to do the self-striping knit along with Stockinette Zombies. I think just trying to churn out a pair every month sort of took a lot of the joy out of it. So I'm just taking it easy this year, and I'll get back to churning out socks the way I always did. Maybe not quite as much, but I will get back to it. And I think what I'm going to do is, in fact, this should be in the plotting section, but I'll talk about it now, is for Christmas I got Sock Architecture by Laura Neal. And it's got lots of different heels and toes and construction methods. And I think what I'm going to do after I finish those vanilla socks, which are done with Fish Lips Kiss Heel, which I really like, and I sort of don't want to mess with the methods, so to speak, but I am curious about a lot of the things in here, and I think it might be a good idea for me to just change it up a bit and try some of these different heels and toes. I mean, even if I just tried the heel, like just do a little sort of heel swatch, so to speak. I've done that before, and it's a very good way of testing. In fact, that sort of thing, where you just do the heel and just try sort of cast on, do the heel, cast off, and you can try it on and see how it fits my foot. And it's a, you know, there's some really, really interesting heels, like different shapes and stitches, and I think it'll be worth me having a go and trying some other stuff. I think it's good to try different things, and I've got a bit sort of complacent with my sock knitting, and I want to make sure I find the perfect sock fit. So yeah, that's Sock Architecture by Lara Neal, and I think it's a very good book, and other people have done reviews and such, which is why I bought it, because other people have done good reviews about it. So I'm not going to, mainly because I haven't read it from back to front yet. But yeah, I think that'll be what I do next after I've finished those vanilla socks. So after that, I have my crafting with colour project, which I love so much. Cannot begin to describe how much I love this project. Oh, by the way, try my little snips. They're higher, and they're a little kitty. And I've just popped it on my zip, on the pull, so I can always find some scissors. Trying to collect like one for every project bag, because I can never find my scissors, and if I actually have these, I'll be okay. But yes, this, by the way, is a fondant fibre bag. I don't know why I'm telling you about fondant fibre bags, because they are fantastic and they nearly always sell out before I get there. I think it's karma, because I got so many before she got so popular with her bag making. I hogged. I have been a fondant fibre project bag hog. I do believe that is true. Anyway, this fabulous thing is The Joker and the Thief by Melanie Berg, and I love it. It is fantastic. It's the yarn I'm using is, this is Vollmeister Pure, and it's a very, trying to find the right, it's a very, very dark purple, and I think it's a weird different one. I'm not sure this would be the colour you would get if you bought from the website, because I got it on a D-stash, and it is Ein kleiner Wenig verrucht is the colourway, and it is just fabulous, and it works really, really well as a background against these fabulously bright colours. It's really there, that's how it looks, and I love this. It's so much fun to do, because you've got these little sort of sections where you only have to do increases and decreases at either end in a certain pattern, and that's pretty brainless, and I can read while I'm doing that. And then you have these little sections in between which have crossed stitches in them, which you have to really look at while you're doing it and think a bit. And I would recommend, if you're going to do this pattern, have something sharp to knit with. That is a Targhee interchangeable needle, and they are very sharp, and I think I would really, really struggle if I used anything less sharp when I knit this project. The fabulous colours, I think I'm pretty sure I showed you, are from the Frankenstein Yarn Company. Lovely little cat. Oops. And she's on Etsy. She's also got a website, but when I tried to buy through the website, it didn't work, so I went to Etsy instead. And I think it's the Naked Skein. There's a link in the show notes, so if you are interested, go and have a look. And there were sets of mini skeins, and they're beautifully dyed. They're really, really lovely sort of sherbety colours. I think that's why I like it so much. It's kind of sherbety and summer sort of ice cream and sorbet flavours. That's what it reminds me of. And the sort of kit name was Sour Hearts, and I bought 2 sets, which I'm hopeful will be enough. If not, if I have to buy another set, then it should be okay, as long because I just won't change in the middle of here. I'll start on the next section. I'm having a blast. I am loving this, and that's why I'm not really working on very much else in terms of knitting. It's so much fun, and I think it's going to be a really, really beautiful thing when it's finished. Love those colours. Love them. Yeah, the mini skeins are 100% merino. Superwash merino? Yeah, superwash merino. So it's all superwash. However, I think what I'm going to do is wash this in unscented Euclan. One thing I have learnt over recent years is that some of the no rinse scented washes, wool washes, cause colours to bleed. Not necessarily bleed horrifically, but if you've got strong colours next, or a strong colour and a pale colour next to each other, it will muddy it up. I found that I heard that unscented no rinse formulas don't have that problem. So I bought a little bottle of the unscented, and I use that whenever I think there might be a problem with colours. And this is something that I think there might be a problem with colours, because they're so bright, they're so vivid, and the purple is so dark. I just don't want to risk it. I'm sure they'll be fine, but I don't want to risk it. And there's no need to risk it because I have the unscented. It doesn't smell as nice, but it will do the same job, and it will wash it, and it will make it ready for blocking. So that's just a pro tip I read somewhere, and I have found to be true, because whenever I use the unscented, I've not had any bleeding. So that is my recommendation to you, is get some unscented no rinse wash. Mine is Euclan. I don't know if you can get soak in the unscented, but you can definitely get it in the Euclan. So, ooh, I'm running out of space down there. The rest of the work I've been doing has been dominated by the Tour de Fleece. And I've done a lot of spinning, an awful lot of spinning. And I'm quite proud of how much spinning I've done, actually. The first thing I've got to show you is in another fun fibre bag. I love these bags because they hold my spindles. They're great for that. And this is some skein Polworth silk in the Time colourway, and it is on one of my new purchases, and I love this so much, this new spindle. It's a Russian spindle in Cocobolo wood, and it's from Spanish Peacock. It's quite heavy. I think it's about 40 grams, and I love it. It took me a while to get used to it because I've never spun with a Russian spindle before. I've always used something that's either got a bead or a cup like a Tibetan. So it took me a while to get used to it because it hasn't got the same sort of balance and longevity of spin as the ones I'm used to. So it's taken a while to get used to it, but I think now I'm used to it. I'm delighted with it. You can't really see quite how beautiful this wood is because it's all hidden, but that gives you an idea. It's just lustrous. And I've been waiting to get my hands on this particular style and wood spindle really since I started watching podcasts where people were using supported spindles, because Spanish Peacock just make beautiful, beautiful spindles, and the ones that I saw that were Russian spindles, they were just beautifully elegant. I just always wanted one because they were so elegant. And I love cocobolo wood. It's just such a rich chocolate colour. So when I saw this one come up in the Facebook thread for Spanish Peacock's Facebook page, I was just like, yep, click. I was very, very lucky in that I happened to be checking my Facebook feed about 20 minutes after he posted that he was putting this on the website. So I was able to just go on and buy it. I didn't care how much money I had in my bank account, I just bought it because I knew it would probably be another sort of couple of years before I managed to get it otherwise. And it's just a truly, truly beautiful thing. And I love it. Spanish Peacock really do make, Spanish Peacock makes the most beautiful spindles. They are truly, truly works of art. And they spin like a dream. I've never come across anything that spins so well. I love his stuff, which is why I have so many of his spindles. Anyway, this was, like I say, it's Pulver Silk by Skein, and I'm currently plying it. I've got, I think it's probably just over half on this spindle. I need to unload it, put it on the niddy noddy. And it's just really lovely and soft and bouncy, and I'm really pleased with it. It's just a 2-ply. It's a very subtle colourway with this sort of sagey green and muted tan. I really like it, sort of grey tan. I really, really love it. I think it's going to be something beautiful when it's finished and knit up. So that's something that's kind of been put to one side because it's not Tour de Fleece stuff. I've actually joined Team Caffeinated Knitting this year because they have a very, very gentle approach to Tour de Fleece, which is essentially at the beginning of the tour you stated what you intended to achieve during the tour, and at the end you say what you achieved during the tour, whether you reached your goals, if you exceeded them, what have you, and that's how you're sort of in the prize running kind of thing. And I love Caffeinated Knitting. It's a fabulous podcast. It's hilarious. And people who enjoy watching Caffeinated Knitting are generally pretty good people as far as I'm concerned. They're good fun. They're up for a laugh. So yeah, it's kind of fun over there on the threads. So I'm enjoying it. The main thing that I set for myself was to spin up some braids of fibre that I got for my birthday from my brother and sister-in-law, and they were from Countess Ablaze, surprise, surprise, and they were blended fibre that had an awful lot of stuff in it. It was called the Extravagance and Cruelty colourway, and it had 62% merino, 12% alpaca, 12% angelina and 12% sea salt. It's a really, really unusual blend, and it's very, very soft, incredibly shiny and very, very fluffy. And the colours were lovely, and I really wanted to try and preserve those colours as much as possible and try not to muddy them. So I sort of split them. I had 300 grams because I got 200 grams from my brother and sister-in-law, and I already had 100 grams in my stash. So it worked out really well. I got a really good amount. So each of those braids I split in 3 lengthwise. They're probably not quite accurate, but what I wanted to do was try and split some of the colours lengthways, so they would be less muddied when they were spun up. They would only have a couple of colours to sort of blend up against rather than quite a few. So in this one, there's sort of, you can see there's sort of more greens and teals in it, and then this one is more sort of limey greens, pinks, and the black and the white. What else we got? There is another one, and I can't remember which one. Which one have I shown you? Yeah, there's purple and green in there, and again blacks and whites. So they're not the same 3 splits each time, but hopefully they'll go nicely together, because I'm going to spin it as a 3-ply, and it's so soft and fluffy. I think it'll be really warm when it's knit into something. So I'm thinking I'll probably get a DK weight, not sure, but I have got all 9 of those spun up already, and today is day 10, I think, of the tour. So yeah, I thought I'd leave that to rest for a couple of days and then start plying on it. So I've basically got my plans pretty much nailed. So I thought I'd pull out another braid from my stash. And this is rather lovely. It is fondant fibre. It's oatmeal BFL in the Luck and Booth colourway, and yeah, that's the right colour. It's got all these amazing sort of plum and sage and sort of olivey green. It's just gorgeous, and I'm just going to spin it end to end and 3-ply it, and I'm trying to keep the spin as fine as possible. Let's see if I can. It's reasonably fine. It's not the finest I've ever spun, but it's pretty fine. I think I might be able to get a 4-ply, possibly, because I plan to do chain ply. I'm not sure how it's going to go, because I didn't sample it, just started spinning it. Terrible, I hardly ever sample, and I really should. But yeah, it's going really well. Really like it. And because you're probably going to ask, this is another Spanish peacock. It's a Tibetan spindle, and it was the very first Spanish peacock I got. And I believe that is Cocobolo wood. No, it's not. It's Wengi and walnut. And this is when I fell in love with Spanish peacock, when I got this spindle, because it has perfect balance. It is a flawless spin, and it is a dream to use. So that's when my addiction started. I think I have 4 now, 4 Spanish peacocks. Pretty sure it won't stay at 4. I'm trying not to buy any more spindles for a couple of months. Running out of places to store them. But yeah, this is such a fun spin. I'd forgotten how much I love BFL, because it's a while since I've spun it, and it's really good fun to spin. It's soft, it's bouncy, it's got amazing drape when it's knit up, and it's so easy to spin because it's got these long fibres. It's a lot stickier than merino. It's just easy to spin with BFL, and I'm really enjoying that. I'm just spinning that as and when. It's a piece of cake to spin that. I don't know if it'll be part of any Tour de Fleece fondant fibre or what have you. I'm just really enjoying the spin, and yeah, I can't seem to stop spinning at the moment. It is a love. It is an addiction. It's the need for me to spin. So yeah, actually what I've done is I've opened a thread on the Ravelry group, which is basically for anyone who's taking part in the Tour de Fleece or not taking part in the Tour de Fleece. Anyone who's spinning around the Tour de Fleece can come and chat in there about what they're spinning and what have you, because there's a lot of people who enjoy the spinning but don't want the commitment of being part of a group. And I was going to be one of those people this year until I saw the caffeinated knitting group and its sort of mantra. So that's what I've done, is I've opened the thread, and people can come and chat there about their spinning. There's no prize, there's no requirements, there's no commitments. It's just somewhere to talk about spinning and have a look at other people's lovely fibre. So Yeah, that's one thing about the Tour de Fleece. It can get very, very tempting. You want to buy lots and lots of really, really gorgeous fibre, because my Instagram feed is just chocker with beautiful spinning projects. So yeah, trying really hard not to spend money, because in the run up to my surgery, when I was feeling pretty low, and spent far too much. Yes, bought lots and lots and lots of things, and I'm not going to show you half of them because it'd take too long. But I am going to show you some of them in the splashed out section, which I think is next. Looking at my show notes, yes, it is. I've already shown you the Spanish Peacock Spindle, because that was first on my list to show you. And next on my list is fibre. And this is fibre I've waited a long time to get my hands on. Not because it wasn't available, but because I wanted to make sure it was the right fibre. And I think I got the right colourway for me. It is from Pigeon Roof Studios. It is superwash Targhee, and it is in the magical colourway. And it is rather magical indeed. It's gorgeous. I have coveted a Pigeon Roof Studio braid for a very long time. I have wanted it probably since I started spinning and started seeing the braids. I love how much white is used right next to really, really deep saturated colours, and I'm just so curious as to how it'll spin up. I have no clue how it's going to spin up, but I think I chose wisely, because these colours are amazing. I mean, look at that rust right next to this amazing sort of red currant colour. I mean, it's just beautiful. And I've not spun Targhee before, but this is my second braid of Targhee. I've yet to do the first one, but it seems that Targhee is the sort of cheaper fibre option in the States, and it feels pretty soft. It sort of feels a bit sort of Polworthy. That's not a word. A bit like Polworth, in that it is soft, but it's got a reasonable crimp to it. I think it'll be a nice spin. I think it'll be enjoyable. It's got a bit of texture to it, the way Polworth and Rambouillet and things like that do. But like I say, it feels really soft. It's kind of next to the skin soft. So I think it could be anything when it's finished. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that. And something tells me it won't be my last Pigeon Roof Studios fibre, because it's really gorgeous. Really, really gorgeous. It's as the reality is as good as the photographs on the website on Etsy. Sometimes there's a disparity between the two, but on this occasion they are as good. So when you see those amazing colorways, you know that that's true. I'm giving you that as information because I know that's the sort of thing I want to know if I'm buying from someone for the first time. It's accurate. So that's my first purchase. Now my second purchase is Targhee. Again, it's Targhee silk, and it's rather fabulous. In fact, I wish I had more of this yarn. I really do. It was from On the Round, and the colourway is Silver Lining Tweed, and it is a worsted weight, 210 yards, and it's machine washable, which amazes me. It's a nice robust yarn. It's something that I think it'll be pretty pill resistant from feeling it. It's got a nice high twist. It's not too high a twist, but it's got a good twist. I think it's 4 plies. Yes, it's 4 plies. So it's nice and round and dense and bouncy. And it's got great colours. I mean, look at those. Can you even show you I love that green. Focus. No, not going to focus. But yeah, I think that's going to knit up fantastically. This would be a brilliant garment colourway, I think. It was in I got it because it was in a summer sale. She was offering a massive discount. I think it was like 20%, 30% off. She was trying to clear down some of her stock. And I just jumped on it because it's really hard for me to buy a lot of US stuff, as you know, and this took it underneath the £15 limit. So it was like, yes, I'm buying that because I can. I mean, I wouldn't have bought just anything. I bought this because I really loved it. And I've never tried a Targhee yarn, and it was something I wanted to try. I mean, now I've got the fibre. I want to know how it can feel when it's spun professionally. But isn't that beautiful? Really going to enjoy working with that. Next. Yeah, quite embarrassed about this. I won a prize in the Countess Ablaze knit along. It was a voucher, Countess Ablaze voucher for £10. So of course I had to use it straight away, mainly because this yarn had gone into stock, and this is Nerds Prefer Their Rainbows Darker, which is a colourway I have longed to get my hands on for a very long time and never been successful. It's got these amazing deep colours which are kind of overdyed with black. It's just so subtly beautiful, and the fact that this is on a sparkly base makes it even better. It's just lovely. And it's the Viscount of Spark sock yarn, which is 75% BFL and 25% nylon. It's so soft and smooth. 400 meters fingering weight, and it can be machine washable. Not that I will, but I want to do something a bit special with this. I don't think I want it to be socks. I think it would look amazing as a cowl or a shawl or something. It's the sort of thing you kind of want to wear where it's on full display. Make great sort of long fingerless mitts. It is a rather special yarn. And of course, when you're buying something from Countess Ablaze, you kind of want to buy other things as well. So I got this rather special one-of-a-kind colourway in the Dr. Donegal 4-ply. And this is the first time I've used this yarn. It's something that I've been curious about for a long time, but never really sort of pulled the trigger on it. And it's 85% merino and 15% viscose neps, which are the little sort of bobbly bits. It is so soft, so bouncy. And these are kind of my favourite colours, these kind of lime greens and sort of tea greens as well. Just so lovely. Again, no idea what it's going to be. Don't really want to put it on my feet. It's lovely. And again, it's 400 meters in the fingering weight. It's rather fabulous. I think both of those are going to make rather beautiful things. And I have to stop buying sock yarn. I have far too much sock yarn. Of course, before I decided that, I saw another discount, and it was for someone whose work I very much enjoy. I've managed to get hold of a braid of her fibre once before and loved spinning it, and that is Marigold. Actually, no, I didn't get hold of her fibre. I'm thinking of someone else. This is Marigold Jen, and I love her colours. Love them. Yeah, look at that. That's amazing. That's pretty true to colour. This amazing. No, that's it. That's true to colour. This amazing sort of tealy deep blue. It's fabulous, and it is called Serene. No, Celine. Can't remember. I can't read this. I think it's Serene actually. And it's sock weight yarn, and it's 70% merino, 30% silk, 438 yards and 100 grams, and it's a single, so it's unbelievably soft. Really beautiful. It's got an amazing sheen to it. That's definitely going to be a shawl or a cowl. It's stunning. And a very generous sample skein came with it, which is really decent size skein, I think. And it's in the Black Magic colourway, and it's 50% merino, 50% silk, and I think it's a 2-ply. Yeah, I think it's either a 2-ply or a 3-ply, but it's a nice smooth twisted yarn. It's lovely, sort of purples and blacks. Really like it. I'll be interesting to knit that up into something, probably a square for my sock yarn blanket. Be rather special to have some merino silk in there. But yeah, I was really surprised to get that generous mini skein in there as well. So yeah, there was a discount on, so I bought it. I saw it and just went, must have, because normally her prices are usually just over the limit depending on the exchange rate. So I don't often get a chance to buy Marigold Jen. In fact, I think this is my second skein because of exchange rates and sales and things. So I'm just delighted to have something so beautiful, because normally even with discounts it's hard to get like the premium sock yarns from people. So it was a good price to start with, I think. But yeah, love that so much. And I think that's all I've got for Splashed Out. Yep, that's it. Done. So I guess what I want to talk about next is where I've been. So if you aren't interested in hearing about my health woes, please feel free to come back another time. You don't need to listen to this. I'm just talking about it in case people are interested, because people have been lovely and supportive, and I've had lots of messages and people have been asking how I've been doing, and it means the world to me. It makes me feel part of something, part of the community, to know that I've been missed and people sort of worry about how I'm doing and stuff, and just thank you. It's very, very kind of you to reach out. So yeah, thank you to those people. So I just wanted to let people know how I was doing, for those who are interested. And if you're not, I'll see you next time. Thank you for hanging out for as long as you have done. So, had my surgery. I think it was about 3 weeks ago. I didn't get much notice at all, and you might have seen the little sort of snippet that I recorded that week to let you know that I was going to be away for a bit. And the surgery was with a replacement surgeon. It wasn't my consultant. I think the waiting list had got too long, so they brought somebody else in to do the operations that could be done by someone else. And the nature of my surgery being to do with sort of gastro issues, and it being keyhole surgery, they brought this consultant in, and he surprised me when I was sort of sat there in my surgery gown and going nil by mouth and waiting for my surgery, and he came in and said, I don't necessarily think you should be having this surgery. Okay then, why am I here? And he sort of said, I've just looked at your file. I'm thinking, yeah, the file that's about this thick. And he said, you know, your symptoms wouldn't indicate to me that, you know, the last surgery you had didn't find very much. I would suggest that probably what the problem is other than adhesions, it might be IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. And I sort of was so taken aback that this is the first time anyone suggested this might be the case to me. It's all the symptoms I have are exactly the same as I had when I had adhesions. And for someone who I'd never met before coming into my ward and hitting me with this out of the blue, because I was on my own, because I've done this so many times. I just said to Andy, look, I'll go and do this on my own. Don't need you to be there. I just need you to be there to pick me up. I knew what to expect. I knew what the surgery would be like. I knew what the hospital was like. You know, I didn't need him there for that. He'd just sit around being bored as much as I was. So I was on my own, and I was just absolutely floored at this, and kind of got a bit upset about it, and because it was such out of the blue news when I'm at my most vulnerable, and I sort of was very sort of angry about it in a way, that he would sort of hit me this before my surgery, because then he said, we're going to go ahead with the surgery, we'll have a look, we're all here, and all the rest of it. And after the surgery, it was quite brief. I think it was only under for about 40 minutes. I was really surprised. When I was back on the ward, he came to see me and said, there weren't very many adhesions at all, not enough to warrant your symptoms. I really do believe it's IBS, and I do believe you need to go and see your GP about it. So that's where we're at, and it's taken me a while to get my head around it, which is why I've not podcasted sooner. I've kind of like taken a break from engaging with the outside world a bit, to be honest, because it's quite a big thing to have to do a 180 on your diagnosis. I've not seen my doctor yet, because I wanted to see a specific GP at my practice, which is somebody that I get on well with and respect and can talk to, because it's quite a big deal to go in with a totally new diagnosis from somewhere that you weren't expecting. So I see her on Monday, and we'll see where to go from there. In the meantime, I took the very, very, very drastic measure of quitting caffeine. So one of the things that all the websites have said is Diet Coke in particular, fizzy drinks are really bad, and caffeine's really bad. So I drink a lot of Diet Coke. I drank a lot of Diet Coke, and I just kind of went cold turkey. And if, with hindsight, if I'd known how bad going cold turkey on Diet Coke would be, I would have done it more gently. It was horrific. Honestly, you have no idea. If you've never tried to quit caffeine, I will tell you, if that's what it feels like to quit, you have no idea how much effect caffeine is having on your body. It was horrendous. Honestly, I was just all over the shop. I had no concentration. I felt wobbly. I felt weak. I was uncoordinated. I was just, honestly, I was like a space cadet for about 3 days. Headache to end all headaches. It was just awful. But I feel better having done so. Yeah, maybe I just got the worst of it all out of the way in one chunk. But yeah, I do feel a lot better for it. Not in respect of fixing my problem, because I don't think just quitting some aspect of my diet is going to affect my problem that much. But I think it was the right thing to do, mainly for my energy levels, which are a lot more constant now. I'm sleeping a lot better. I'm not as bloated. I'm not craving sweet things as much as I was. I think it was the right thing to do. I'm trying to cut back on squash as well, because even though it's the no added sugar squash, there's still tons of chemicals in there. So I'm going days at a time without having squash, sort of drinking water infused with fruit, which is something somebody on Facebook, one of my friends, told me to do, and I was like, that's fantastic, thank you. Because one of the reasons I drank Coke and squash was because I've got a constant bad taste in my mouth as a side effect of one of my drugs, and yeah, need flavour. Just water on its own is rarely enough. So I've been doing these sort of water infusion things, and that's been making me feel better. I don't feel as bloated, which helps with pain. Yeah, it was a good first step, but there's so many conflicting sets of information online, and I just don't know where to start. You know, there's all these books that you can buy. I mean, I have no idea which is a good one to look at, which has good constructive advice on how you can move forward with a diagnosis of IBS. I just don't know that. So I wanted to hold off on doing anything else before I spoke to my GP, because hopefully she'll be able to give me some information. She can tell me where to start looking for other information, and how to start looking at what things could be setting me off. Part of my problem is I have chronic pain, so additional problems in my abdomen are going to impact on my chronic pain, which is probably why my symptoms have felt so similar to my adhesion problems in the past. So I don't know where it leaves me, not a clue. I have no idea where the next 6 months to a year to 18 months is going to take me, because I have no idea what impact changing my diet, my lifestyle will have. I don't think there'll be any kind of additional drugs I can take for IBS, because I'm already on a couple of the ones that would be recommended anyway. So I don't think that's going to be a quick fix. I think it's going to be things to do with my stress levels, to do with my diet, things like that. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. No clue. But giving up caffeine was a very good first step. Yeah, I think if nothing else, I'm glad I did it, because once I came through the withdrawal, I realised how much of an impact caffeine had on my brain chemistry, if nothing else. And yeah, I think it was the right decision to make. No matter what, I'm not going to drink Coke again. Have to say that because I know that if I have it again, I'll just keep drinking it. I know I will. Addicted. Caffeine is really addictive. So yeah, I'm glad that that's out of the way now. I've done that. So we just have to see what the doctor recommends next. So yes, if any of you have any good book recommendations about IBS and how to work out how to adjust your life, that would be great if you could let me know, because I know a lot of people suffer from IBS or have people who suffer from IBS in their family, and we all have different symptoms because it's a syndrome. It's a collection of symptoms that are all sort of bracketed by one thing. It's not a diagnosis as such which says you will have A, B, C, D symptoms. It's a whole collection of symptoms that are sort of loosely tied around the digestive system. So we all have different symptoms, and we all have to manage things in different ways. But if there is anyone who can recommend a book which would be a good starting point for working out what my triggers are and things, that would be really helpful, and I'd be really grateful if I received them. And if anyone's got any alternatives to infused water, that'd be great too. Yeah, I like it, but it's a bit of a faff to fill up the jug every day. So yeah. So thank you again for being so kind and patient and caring, and making me feel that I could take all the time I needed before coming back to the podcast. I felt very supported, and I'm very grateful to you for that. And thank you. And I think on that note, I shall say farewell. I shall go and start uploading all this, which takes hours, and sit and spin while watching a bit of the Tour de Fleece in the Pyrenees, because it'll be beautiful. I'm so glad we get the tour on sort of terrestrial TV now. It's great. And hopefully next time I speak to you, there won't be such a mountain of stuff to plough through. And hopefully I will see you again soon. Bye.